Well, happy Thursday morning to you, everyone, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and this is what I call the Morning Musings. This is video number 53 in our thematic study of 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Paul said, "Then comes the end when he shall deliver up the kingdom to the Father." Now, we've done an entire study of the identification of the end. Please go back and watch that aspect of this thematic study, because it will show you that regardless of what else we may think, regardless of what else we may ponder, the end in 1 Corinthians 15 is not the end of time, and it's not the end of the Christian age. Hey, before I get too deep in this lesson, let me remind you, March 16th, 17th, and 18th, Victoria, Texas. I will be there for a 3-day seminar. This is so exciting. Brand new group down there, crossing all denominational borders, of people who have been studying on their own. They've been watching the videos, and they are super excited about what they are learning. So, I'll be posting more details. I'll be sharing more specifics about that upcoming seminar with you, but don't forget, that's Victoria, Texas, March 16th, 17th, 18th of 2017, that we'll have a 3-day seminar down there. This is going to be a really exciting time. All right. Once again, Paul said, "Then comes the end when he shall deliver up the kingdom to the Father." Well, we are told that Christ would surrender his rule and his reign. In numerous formal debates that I have had, my opponents, when they have been entrapped by the emphatic statements of the Bible, that Christ's kingdom, that his rule, his reign, his throne, his kingdom, has no end, Luke 1, 32 to 35, Ephesians 3, 20 and 21, on and on, all of a sudden they've shifted gears. You know, it's always fascinating when right there in the middle of a debate, your opponent changes their position, like David Hester did on Daniel chapter 12 in our first debate. He changed his position 4 times. Well, anyway, that aside. So, in these debates, when confronted with the explicit statements of the Bible that Christ's kingdom and his rule and his reign has no end, they have changed their gears, changed their argument, and said, well, what this means in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, then comes the end, is that's the end of his mediatorial reign. Not his kingly reign, but his priestly function, because after all, we'll be in the presence of God directly. We won't need any mediation. We don't need any intercession. I coined a term, a Latin term, years and years ago, and no, it's not a real Latin term. It's just Don Preston's, attempt at levity. But I coined this phrase, Argumentum Ad Desperate. And what I mean by that is, what we see on the part of those who are attempting to refute covenant eschatology is arguments from desperation. And the argument that Christ would surrender and abdicate his mediatorial reign is an argument from desperation. Now, watch this. If Christ surrenders the mediatorial reign to the Father and no longer operates and functions as a mediator, but he gives that function to the Father, doesn't that sort of kind of mean that the Father has taken the mediatorial reign? Who's the Father going to mediate for? Do you see what I mean by argumentum ad desperatum? Folks, if Jesus gives it up and gives it to the Father, then what does the Father do with it? Does he throw it away? Well, it is argued, no, this is the kingdom, and Christ's rule over the kingdom is temporary, but the kingdom is eternal, unending, everlasting, without end. Okay, then if it's the mediatorial reign that he hands to the Father, then it is the mediatorial aspect of the kingdom that continues forever and ever and ever, but it's the Father who possesses it. So the question once again is, with whom is the Father mediating? You know, a mediation is between two parties. It's between the party needing the mediation and the party that's able to satisfy the need. But if Christ delivers the kingdom to the Father, the mediatorial reign, that means that the Father is in the middle between those who need mediation and somebody else able to give what is needed. Folks, there is no one greater than the Father. So the idea that Christ would surrender his mediatorial reign and give it to the Father demands that the Father will exercise the mediatorial rule. But there is no one for whom the Father acts as a mediator who is greater than him. No one. This is a specious argument. Christ does not surrender anything, and we'll have more on Christ's mediatorial role and whether or not he surrenders it, Lord willing, when we're back next Monday. In the meantime, get a copy of my book, We Shall Meet Him in the Air, the Wedding of the King of Kings, with an extensive discussion on whether or not Christ surrenders his throne. Go to my website, www.bibleprophecy.com. Order the book. Send me an email saying you saw the offer on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll refund your shipping. Hey, look, hope you have an absolutely fantastic weekend. Please be safe. Keep studying. We'll see you on Monday.